Now, while there is disappointing news that Avdiivka has fallen into Russian hands, largely due to the US and other Western nations dragging their feet on necessary aid to drive Russia out, Ukraine and the world continue to undermine Russia's efforts in the Black Sea. Now, back in September, the inaugural journey through Ukraine's newly established emergency shipping corridor took place, and it has been largely successful. This route was in response to the collapse of the UN brokered grain deal, which led Russia to threaten many attacks on civilian Black Sea shipping. Emergency rescue services from several nations were on standby in case Russia did attack ships moving through this new corridor. Now, according to The Economist, the first ship to make the journey was the Resilient Africa, and it left Odessa closely skirting the Ukrainian coastline here for about 150 kilometers. This is generally considered the most dangerous part of the journey because it's still part of what is a war zone for Russia. But Ukraine has a very robust anti-ship capability that Russia is scared of at this point. They've seen a lot of their ships head to the bottom of the Black Sea because of this Ukrainian anti-ship capability. Now, once it clears this area, it moves into Romanian territorial waters and then Bulgarian territorial waters, both of which are NATO countries. After that, it moves through the Bosphorus Straits, which are controlled by Turkey. So it becomes a situation where Russia does not want to attack the ships for fear of being exposed to Ukrainian anti-ship missiles in this sector, and then can't really attack in this sector because for Russia to attack civilian shipping in the territorial waters of Romania, Bulgaria, or Turkey probably would have some international or NATO response that Russia is not seeking at this point. Now, unfortunately, it is necessary for routes like this to be created because Russia's blockade of Ukraine is not just a military effort. It is an economic effort. A significant portion of Ukrainian trade, especially to Africa and the Middle East, depends on this port out of Odessa, and Russia blockading it was causing serious economic damage. To counter this, obviously, Ukraine devised a route through shallow waters. These were strategically chosen to evade Russian submarines and remain within the protective reach of onshore artillery. And then when leaving the cover of Ukraine, these ships rely on the basically go ahead and find out Russia attitude of NATO members as they guard their territorial waters while graciously extending protection to Ukrainian shipping. Now, this innovative path was obviously a gamble. It has gradually gained confidence, though, which has reduced insurance costs and restored profitability to Odessa shipping. Now, the success of the Resilient Africa paved the way for nearly 500 vessels to follow in its path in the last 3 months, demonstrating the viability of Ukraine's maritime capabilities even in war. And the Odessa region has nearly returned to its pre-war export capacity at this point. Now, despite the constant threat of Russian sabotage and additional logistical challenges, the region's maritime operations have adapted. They've incorporated emergency, ecological, and security services into a unified command structure to ensure the continuous flow of goods, which is something they will leverage in the future, whether there's a war or not. Now, the situation on shore does remain precarious. The reality is there are missile threats, and you can still see the attack points, the scars of Russian attacks on the port facilities, which show that they still are at war. However, Ukraine's maritime initiatives have significantly diminished Russia's dominance in the Black Sea, marking a critical shift in the balance of power here. The successful repulsion of Russian forces, including the destruction of several ships, underscore Ukraine's determination and newfound maritime capabilities. And remember, Ukraine doesn't even have a navy. And despite not having a navy, Ukraine has driven Russian ships further from the shore. At this point, it has become clear that Russia is unlikely to risk attacking foreign merchant ships in NATO territorial waters or doing so near Ukraine, where it exposes their warships to Ukrainian anti-ship capability. So interestingly, one of the bigger threats to the area are sea mines that were laid during World War II that are floating on these new routes, and they've had to be cleared. However, the revitalization of Odessa's ports is a crucial step towards economic recovery for Ukraine and promises a substantial boost to Ukraine's exports and GDP in the coming year. Now, despite these achievements, you got to remain cautious here. We're still at war. The new shipping corridor, while successful and operational, still faces challenges in defending against air attacks. And there is a potential need for military escort to ensure its full security. All of these scenarios are being discussed within the halls of NATO. International military escorts would fully secure these lanes. However, the fact of the matter is these lanes are working without escorts, and that is a testament to Ukrainian strength and their willingness to contribute to the wider world through their own economic resilience.